inevitably I get the question, well, this PPLI sounds great. What's the catch? What's going on here? What do I not know?
Sounds great.
I get to Exactly. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And the answer is there isn't really a catch. What there are rules that need to be followed, that are very important, because violating these rules, they basically strip away all the tax benefits. You lose everything. So the first rule is called diversification. You need to hold at least 5 different investments in your policy. No 2 investments can make up a certain portion of the value, 3 investments, certain portion of the value, et cetera, et cetera. I find in the marketplace that rule is typically pretty easy to satisfy because it looks through fund structures. So an example would be, if you wanted Bitcoin exposure in your PPLI, you could subscribe to a Bitcoin ETF. You would get diversification credit for every holding inside that ETF, even though you're only in one ETF. And that's an example of how it looks through. So diversification is A, it's the right thing to do anyway, but B, it tends to be easier to navigate for the advisors because they have some tools for it. The more important rule, and by far where I see the most people get themselves into trouble with PPLI, really in my experience, one of the only ways to get yourself into trouble with PPLI is to violate this second rule, which is known as the investor control doctrine, or the investor control rule. And what that states is the client, the owner, whoever, the grantor of the trust, whoever is the ultimate beneficial owner of these assets, even though they're in PPLI, that person cannot be making day-to-day investment decisions on behalf of the policy. There has to be, in what we call an SMA structure, separately managed account, there has to be an advisor making all investment decisions. Now, if your goal for your policy is digital asset exposure, there are not a lot of advisors out there that can competently go in there and say, well, we can do X, Y, and Z, we can expose you to this, and we have these sort of, arrows in the quiver. Digital Ascension Group does a really nice job, and very uniquely in the marketplace is able to step into that seat, because I'll say it again, investor control is where you're going to step in it with this. You really, really have to be wary of that, and having confidence in an advisor that they know the digital asset space, they know what to do and not do, is going to give you that peace of mind.